Hello guys, welcome back to Weekmix Media. If you're new to this channel, kindly subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Enjoy today's update.
You know what? It takes a lot of chutzpah, as people would say, to just ask for a follow back and to come on a podcast. But I also believe that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Well, look, believe me,
well,
being a Chelsea fan in Ireland is not easy because
I'll follow you back, man. No problem.
thanks, Alex. Because being a Chelsea fan in Ireland is difficult because I can't go to any games. I don't have any contacts at Stamford Bridge. I can't do much, so it's not easy. Especially when 90% of people in Ireland support Liverpool and Man United. So it kind of sucks being a football fan here, you know. So
I followed you back. No problem. I'm in a very good mood today. So
I
there's no
think we all
problem
are.
with
Like,
that.
if any Chelsea fan is in a bad mood today, they need some serious mental help. You know.
Yeah. All good, man. Well, thanks for speaking and charge your phone and don't be a stranger on future spaces.
I'll be around. Don't worry.
Awesome. All right, let's go to Creek. Creek, you've been waiting patiently, and you have an absolutely amazing profile picture. So go ahead. Creek, stay ready. Stay ready. Don't make me go to Sabre or Saber, however you pronounce his name. All right, go ahead, Saber, Sabre, whatever.
Saber it is, mate. Thanks for having.
I assumed it was Saber. Have you seen The American Office?
I have.
Sorry, Alex. I don't think I can hear you.
You can't hear me? Who's speaking up? Swain? You can't hear me?
Yeah, sure.
What? People can hear me, right?
Yeah.
You can jump me back. Let me come back up.
Swain, I'm gonna mute you, okay? Because anyway, that was I love him, but I gotta mute him because everyone else can hear me. So I think you just got to come in and come back out. Go out and come back in. Sorry, Saber. You've seen The American Office,
I have
right?
indeed.
So the Saber is the company that tries to. Well, they buy obviously Dunder Mifflin, and then they don't know how to pronounce it, so they say Sabre before they ever hear it pronounced. I literally just did that, didn't I? Anyway, sorry. Enough about The Office, which I do think is superior to the UK Office. I'm sorry if people disagree with that. It's not American bias. It really isn't. I actually prefer UK comedy usually to American comedy. I do. I love Ricky Gervais. I just think The American Office is better. But anyway, Saber, go ahead.
So I agree on The American Office first and foremost. So yeah, I rate that. I was about to go to bed and I thought, okay, one last refresh of the timeline. And then I see the Fabrizio tweet and oh, fucking hell. Okay, I'm up for a bit longer. So awesome news on that. It's going to be sad to see Gallagher go because I do think that this Lavia deal is going to happen. It seems to be coming from some fairly credible sources. And as much as Gallagher divides opinion, I think he's somebody who that Poch could make a lot better. And it's always a shame to see somebody who pretty much gushes over the club whenever he talks about it. It's a shame to see somebody like that have to leave to balance the books or whatever it is. So that's going to be a shame, but whatever's for the good of the team. I guess the main thing, and I guess something that I'd like to get everyone's points on, is because we know that the central midfield areas are going to be taken care of, but we still need to address the issue of who's going to fill in on Kunku's position while he's out, and however long it takes for him to get back up to full speed. I'm seeing Elise, I'm seeing Kudus. Personally, I feel like it's maybe going to be one or the other, and it seems to be against popular opinion, but I think we should prioritise Kudus. I think he solves a problem that we have in terms of scoring goals. I feel like out wide we've got some options already. Maybe they're not the best options and not the most ideal that we would want, but Nkunku's recovery could be a long one. So yeah, just curious to get everyone's thoughts on that situation. I personally would prefer Kudus over Elise. Not that I don't rate Elise, I think he's really, really good and I would love him to join. But I feel like for our immediate need, and goals are going to be crucial because we scored so few last year, I feel like Kudus would really help on that. So curious to get everyone's thoughts on that.
Listen, it's a great question. We've talked about it on previous spaces, but I think it's an ever-developing question that should probably be continued to be spoken about, especially after we have the game today and we know that we're now bringing in most likely two midfielders, but like you said, Nkunku will be out for a while. It's a really good question because while Olise might be a phenomenal young passer, just his pass creation is really, really impressive. He has not scored. that many goals in his young Premier League career. Kudus is almost the exact opposite. Obviously, he has not scored any Premier League goals, but what I mean is he's very direct. He's very goal hungry. Yes, yesterday for Ajax, he played as a right winger, but he doesn't play as a right winger the same way Olise does, or certainly Nani, where they really do kind of hug the width. Even though I don't think Olise and Nani play exactly alike, Kudus is one of those right wingers who's like, all right, when you give me the ball, I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm going to get on my left foot and I'm going to get as close to goal as possible. He's very direct. He's very goal hungry. And he's not as much of a pass creator. So with Nkuku out, is he the bigger need? It's a great question. Omar Maori's raising his hand. So Omar, why don't you take it?
Oh, I mean, hey everyone, that was an accident, but sure. I was trying to do.
Well, still, now you have to take it. Who do you want, Kudus or Olise? Go.
Probably Olise, but I would be happy with either of them. To be honest, I think, yeah, we need a little bit of talent in that area, and I mean, yeah, either of them would do a great job. I think I'm just edging towards Olise because I've got a big thing about having done it in the Premier League. I'm a bit burnt by the number of players we've signed from abroad that then can't replicate it here. So yeah, I think my number one thing would be to make sure that we're signing players who have shown they can do it in the Premier League, which Olise has, which is why I'd just edge him. But yeah, I'd be happy with either.
Okay. All right. Well, Jam, one of my favorite people in the Chelsea sphere, one of the kindest people I think you'll ever meet. Carefree Jam. I doubt he needs much introduction. He's got his own following and everything, but I think it's the first time he's joined me in a space. Jam, how we doing? I know we're talking about Caicedo and Lavia. I'll have you speak on that second, but why don't we just stay in line with that question of does Olise fit us more or Kudus?
Hey, big up. First of all, just want to say, like, you're doing a lot more content these days, mate. So big up your content. And everyone, go and like the tweet. Make sure you like the tweet, retweet it, whatever you have to do. Just get involved in it. Anyway, Kudus or Olise. I think my heart actually goes towards Olise. I mean, I love the guy, man. Like, the creation numbers are unreal. Like, a bit like what you said. When I look at him, I just think, and I'm not trying to overhype him, but I just look back and I think the last guy that did those kind of things for us was Mata, right? When you really think about it, when you deep it, the left-footed player, yeah. I mean, I'd love him to be part of our team. And obviously he came through Cobham as well. So bring him back. That's what I say. If I had to pick one, Kudus is a great player, though. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't mind it if we got him either, but I'd want one of the two. Let's put it that way.
Fair. Totally fair. Now let's go to you. We'll get back on the Kudus and Olise thing, but we now have, Jam, the Sacha Tavoleri guy who is obviously a Belgian reporter. He originally was definitely a few days ago saying Lavia to Chelsea had taken a turn and it was looking like it was on. But then he was someone who tweeted, I think, yesterday morning that maybe now it was going the other way. Lavia was really set on Liverpool, even though Sammy Mockbell had the article about an hour ago saying that Lavia looks set to join Chelsea, who's very credible, Sammy Mockbell. We hadn't heard anything yet from Sasha, and it felt like, all right, maybe Liverpool will still try and hijack this, but now Sasha himself has said final announcement for Romeo Lavia incoming, just waiting for a final confirmation, but the player arrived in London this weekend and enjoyed a private moment with friends in order to celebrate his move. Player's side now being formal on the fact he's off to Chelsea. That's the important line, Jam. Player's side now being formal on the fact he's off to Chelsea. This transfer is crazy, so more details will follow, and we will take all the caution needed. So, of course, not done, but Jam, I think that line of player side now being formal on the fact he's off to Chelsea tells you what you really do need to know here, since he was the one who was, I wouldn't say he was as pro Liverpool as Caicedo is pro Chelsea, if you know what I mean. But it did feel like, just because of game time, he was edging Liverpool. But that's a pretty big line there, Jam. So I want to ask you your thoughts on not just getting Caicedo, but almost certainly getting Romeo Lavia on top of it.
Well, that's it. You said the key thing. Almost certainly It's not done until it's done. However, Liverpool, what are you saying? Anyway, I mean, to be honest, what coup that would be for Chelsea? Like, you know, Lavia, I think he could come in and really beef up a midfield. I It's amazing. I think these players are actually looking at the whole project. I mean, call it Project 2030, call it Project Togboli, Igbali, call it Project New Era, Project Poch, whatever you want to call it. Players are looking at this and getting excited. We don't have Europe. We don't. Yet we are beating teams that have Europe to such players. And we're not even paying through the roof with wages. So, you know, there's obviously something that people are seeing. These players are looking at us and going, I want to be a part of that. The environment, the atmosphere, the team spirit, the energy. I don't know what it is, but it's looking good and we're going the right way. And I mean, Lavia, look, he's young. So we're not exactly getting a player that's just going to come in and immediately hit the ground running. He probably could, but I look at him and I think he's got bags of potential. And I mean, one of our nicknames right now is Potential FC. Like a lot of the players that we've got are very young and they've got loads of potential to hit. And I think Lavia would be amazing. I mean, obviously, this does mean that we need to have some outgoings before the end of the transfer window. I mean, maybe we'll talk about that. You know, you're looking at players like today that played well. Conor Gallagher played really well today defensively. I thought he was amazing. He might have to go. Trevor Chalobah might have to go. You know, there are players that might have to go at the cost of this new project, but I think Lavia would be amazing. And actually, I think it's well worth it, despite what the price may end up being. Be well worth it just to say, Liverpool, sorry, we're mudding you again. Have that.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. And you know what, Jim? I know we're here also to just always be bantering rivals, and they're here to do that with us, right? Like, this is a platform to also have fun on, and it's part of the game, right? Like we all say, the game's the game. Liverpool would do it to us if it was reversed. They did do it to us days ago, didn't they? And now we got the receipts. Anyway, oh, that's beautiful. But there also is kind of like a serious nature to this as well. You know, as much as we kind of just use this to have fun on the platform, this is something absolutely that Bowley and Igbali, even though they're spending a lot of money, there's no doubt about it, but this is something they also have every right to feel proud of, you know, where they come in as obviously newer owners than FSG, both American, but certainly newer, have not accomplished anything like FSG have. And I know to many, Liverpool maybe were on the decline as of last season, but I think after the summer that they started to have with McAllister and I'm going to mispronounce his name, it's Bozalai, who clearly is a good player, I think they were actually starting to go back the other way, you know. And if they got Caicedo, all of a sudden they have a really good brand new midfield of Caicedo, McAllister, and Szoboszlai. Like, you know, they would have literally done the opposite of a decline. They would have been kind of back on ascension, in my opinion. And for Chelsea to, of course, they pay the money, but for them to also sell the project after having such a bad year, but also being looked at widely as a circus, you know, for them to be able to do that, they should feel proud of that too, that they did this against a rival, you know, and they also did it around the time that they played a rival. And yes, only drew, but still, it felt like they were overall the better team, they being us. Let's go to, we have a few hands up here. Let's go to Pochettiniak. I mean, it's a great day to speak to Mr. Pochettino's number one fan.
Hi, Alex. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, my man. How are you?
Oh my god, I cannot tell you how good I'm doing with Caicedo. Honestly, it's the best freaking news. Best freaking news of the decade after Enzo. But yeah, I just think we're a massive club. Liverpool can go enjoy that kind of city, enjoy Europa League. We're out of Champions League and we're signing the best talents in the world. There's some things about Chelsea you can never take away from us, and that's that we're a freaking massive club.
Yes, we are. We're gargantuan, as I like to say. Yes, we are.
Anyways, I needed to get that off my chest. I think it was a good match today. I think the one thing that I am afraid of with signing Caicedo and Lavia is that I'm afraid for Andre. What happens with Andre? Because, in my opinion, there's like a 60, 70 million pound player there, to be honest.
Sorry, I thought I muted myself, but I didn't mute myself. I totally agree that there is a 60, 70 million pound player in there. I would one up you. I would say, and I'm buzzing that we're getting Caicedo and Lavia. Buzzing, right? Because I want to have good problems everywhere. As long as we have developmental pathways for these players, I want to have good problems everywhere. I want to have Real Madrid's problem in the midfield. I want to have their midfield problem. Once again, it's not a problem, but you know what I mean. Like yesterday, they had Bellingham, Valverde, Camavinga, and Tchouaméni starting. That is disgusting. That is disgusting. Like you can put out a midfield four of that with that. Oh my goodness, that age range that they're all in, but also still that experience that they all have at that age. Valverde's experience at that age. Camavinga now is pretty experienced at this age in two different positions. Bellingham is experienced at that age, and he's so freaking young. And Tchouaméni, he's still experienced to a degree, and he also is pretty cerebral and everything. And plays way older than he actually is. I mean, that's disgusting what they have there. And of course, they've had midfield problems for years, and it was just with older players as well, with Casemiro, Kroos, Modric, etc. So I absolutely think Andre is good enough to give us hopefully a similar midfield problem. And I'm inviting this problem though, so I'm pro getting both. But I understand your concern, and it's why I ask many people, like, are we doing too much here? Is it overload? Is it overkill? But the reason why I don't think it is because of the regime we have. Okay. So under the old regime, who, by the way, I'm not bad mouthing whatsoever. How could I with all those trophies? How the heck could I? But they did one thing, maybe not so great, maybe a couple things, but they obviously didn't have much foresight, right? And I can't fully blame them because we were winning trophies so constantly. And we were also, of course, hiring and firing that it's hard to really ever build for the future. And we were hiring and firing so much because it proved to never really punish us. And if anything, it benefited us. We just kept getting a new manager bounce and winning a trophy. And it's also just in our DNA. But the old regime, I would not have had confidence to go, like if they went crazy and got Caicedo and Lavia, I wouldn't have had confidence then for them to still have the right plan in place for an Andre or a Leslie Ugochukwu, because they didn't really work like that. I mean, obviously, we didn't really have a multi-club model. I know we just sent players to Vitesse for the fun of it, but that wasn't the same thing. And it was just very clear a lot of our scouts, a lot of our football directors, they weren't really like youth-oriented. We had a great academy, but it wasn't very cohesive in how it all worked together. But now, when we have Joe Shields and we have, I know it's been an interesting week for Paul Winstonley, but he certainly is a player. Wow. Calm down, Alex. He certainly is a football director that I think actually has a good talent ID. We can just debate how he closes and negotiates deals, but he certainly is someone that is a pretty good advisor of young talent, I would say, picker outer of young talent, I would say. I've heard similar things about Lawrence Stewart, Kyle McCauley as well, right, who has actually stayed on from Graham Potter's regime. We have a lot of people now working for us that are thinking about young players and developmental pathways. And the multi-club model, as that probably expands, maybe get a club in Portugal as well, that's only going to help it. I know there's limits on how many players we can have out on loan, but remember, that does not include academy players, people who were trained through our academy and are still 21 or younger. So when like a Bashir Humphreys goes out on loan, when a Lewis Hall goes out on loan, that does not count against it, which is nice. So as long as we have developmental pathways for these guys, I think it won't be an issue. But so getting back to Andre, I think had we not even got one midfielder right, I mean, it would have hurt us on the table. There's no doubt about it, and we'd all be very disappointed. But I'm just saying, had our standards been maybe different, and we were like Brighton, and we just threw Andre into a starting spot, I think he could have had such a good season. Maybe we wouldn't have had the season we wanted to, but I think he would have had such a good season that, yes, you would have seen his price next summer had he been available. I mean, he wouldn't be available, of course, but you would have seen his value already. Like you said, 60, 70, who knows, 80, maybe more, because the market's crazy like that. I mean, a year and a half ago, Moises Caicedo was worth nothing. And 2 years ago, he arrived at Brighton for £4.4 million. And Andre Santos, projection-wise, potential-wise, I'm not comparing them, but he has everything, for a midfielder, projection and potential-wise. So yes, given the platform, I completely agree with you that he can be a nine-figure midfielder. He can get to that point where some club is like, we'll give you £100 million for him, no doubt about it. But the reason why I just don't think it's overkill, and it seems like most agree, but you're right to raise the question, is I just think we have a regime now who are not going to block the rightful youngsters from getting their chances. They won't all make it in, but I think they'll have their chances to make it a good problem. That's what I would say. So, like, if Andre really does well, whether it's as a backup now or if he does go out on a loan, he will have every chance to give Poch a headache, if you know what I mean. That's kind of what I'm trying to convey. Sammy, you've been in here the longest of the people who have their hands up. You're also just so good at literally clicking an emoji reaction every I don't even know how you do it so much. You're doing it like every half a second. How does your finger work like that, man? It's unbelievable. How are you doing? What are you doing? All right, go. Just speak. Stop hitting the emojis. Speak.
Before I speak, obviously, I appreciate.
How do you do it like that? How do you hit an emoji so quick?
I don't actually know, to be honest. I'm a bit of a robot sometimes, so I learned it from the best. Erling Haaland and that. But no, I appreciate you getting me on. I just want to say quickly before I actually speak on the transfers. Wore a Caicedo for Liverpool. Wore a Caicedo for Klopp. Wore a Colwill for Klopp. Wore a Bellingham for Klopp. Wore a Tchouaméni for Klopp. So it's damning, isn't it, Alex? All these players, big players, rejecting Liverpool. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. He chose a team that finished 12th over Klopp's army. Crazy. I don't know. It's not looking good. Anyway, I actually want to speak about the Gallagher stuff from today.
Sure.
If that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think in general, this player, and I know a lot of people actually, when I speak about Gallagher or tweet about Gallagher, they either block me or unfollow me or send me abuse. So it's quite funny to do this now. But I think of all the players that we've had down the years, I think he's one that's hated the most, and yet he's never complained. He never sulks. He always gives 100%. He's happy to be a part of the squad, even if he doesn't start, Alex. He's not there saying, start me. He's not doing interviews like Lukaku. He's not pouting like the other players on the bench. He's not causing a problem. He's not a locker room cancer. And yet everyone every day wakes up saying, Galadog, get him out of it. I'm sick of it. I'm like, bro, rest. This is a Chelsea player, a Chelsea academy player. He was on loan at Palace. And what did he tell them at Palace? He was telling the reporter on the interview, tell them that I want to come back to Chelsea. Make it clear that I love Chelsea and I want to play for Chelsea. And that means a lot, right? And then in terms of his actual football, and especially today, I think at times, he did get it wrong because I think, we're sort of stitching him up a little bit. He is a little bit of a press trigger in that deep midfield, right? Liverpool were obviously targeting that, so they were leaving the passing lanes open to him. And then as soon as it came to him, there was 2-3 man on Gallagher, expecting a mistake, expecting an error, which is fine. But also at times he did deal with it very, very well. Also, we adjusted quite well, and I'm happy. Pochettino made that adjustment by either going long to the flanks, so chipping it to Thiago Silva or Chilwell, or also in the second half, especially Enzo was dropping a little bit and getting on the ball. So yeah, that really impressed me, and his work rate. The brother never stops running. I can't believe it. Like, in terms of a midfield player, he does not stop running. Put himself about, put in tackles today, and then he seemed to be composed on the ball. Like, he has a lot of traits that midfield players don't have. But again, I wouldn't want him to play in the pivot. I think if we get Caicedo, we get Lavia. I think I understand that you need to raise funds and he'd be pure profit on the book. But I do think that as far as a Chelsea player goes, he gets too much stick, and especially when you consider he's not even playing in his position, right? His position is more of that sort of attacking midfield role that he played at Palace.
Yeah. I mean, beautifully said. Because I would say that Conor Gallagher does not deserve to go. If he wants to stay, if you know what I mean, he does not deserve to go. He's done everything to absolutely earn a spot at Chelsea. If he gets sold, it is literally because this business is cutthroat. And also, if he gets sold, it means that he's accepting that he's going to have a chance to play somewhere else more regularly. But he just understands the game's the game. I think academy players here understand that more than anyone because they've seen Chelsea for such a long time. No matter what, just always buy other players. So it's not going to be a surprise to Connor if literally Chelsea are now in the position where they're like, Connor, we do love you, but we needed to improve in different areas, in different ways. And now you're a little bit expendable to us. And there's other clubs that want you and they're proposing good money for you. And he also knows the whole pure profit thing. He's not a dummy. The club tried to sell him at the end of the window in January. They did. They tried to sell him to Everton. And of course, he was like, no, thank you. I don't want to go to that sinking ship. So he stayed. And yeah, he loves Chelsea immensely. And his attitude is super commendable. His love for the club, his desire, just the way he fights. It's really, really commendable and admirable. And this is why when Conor Gallagher has a game where he's out of position and has a lot of giveaways, you can still have half the fan base say, wow, I really like Gallagher today. Like, think about that, actually. That's a really good perspective to put it in. And Sam, you kind of led me there. So I'll give you the credit, not myself, to make this point. How many players can have a good portion of the fan base applauding you when literally you had a lot of giveaways and you weren't in position? Like, normally, if you have a lot of giveaways and you're not in position a lot, you're going to get absolutely destroyed. And yet there were still so many fans who were commending him by the end of the game because he has such a short memory. He just keeps going and going and going, and he doesn't really care. Like, he's not going to let mistakes impact his energy, effort, belief, desire, etc. So, I mean, he is absolutely a manager's dream. But with that said, I also know that Pochettino, in an ideal world, and we can see it now playing out on the transfer market, doesn't think he's probably technically good enough to be a starter. With that said, it's not a surprise that in the meantime, he is being used as a starter because Poch is so balanced in kind of the way he manages that Poch is going to say, well, I don't have the midfielders yet. So of course I'm going to use Gallagher. Like, why wouldn't I use Gallagher? Because he can still give me so many good things. When you get me the midfielders, yes, then I understand that he might need to be sold. But I'm not just going to not play him because he is going to be sold. While he's here, I'm going to use him because he is very helpful in ways. So, yeah, I mean, he's a divisive player to talk about, but it is weird that he gets like actual hate because I feel like you should be able to, and I'm probably sounding like a hypocrite because obviously I've, gone hard on players in the past, but I'm trying to be better. But I just think that there's a difference between critiquing his game and highlighting the things that he's not as good at, right?
Hello everybody, hi everyone, good day. My name is Sally. I'm a presenter, a YouTuber and a content creator. Please do also subscribe to Weekmix Media on YouTube for all the latest updates of news, trending videos and everything. Also do also follow them across all their social media platforms. Thank you.